Anhingas are large and slender waterbirds with long fan-like tails that resemble a turkey's tail. They have a long S-shaped neck and a dagger-like bill. Male and female Anhingas can easily be distinguished, as males have a black head and neck, while females have a golden brown head and neck. Adult male Anhingas are black with silvery to white streaks on the back and wings. Females and immatures have a pale tan head, neck, and breast. The bill, legs, and feet are yellowish-orange. Anhingas swim with their bodies mostly submerged and their long, like snack neck held partially out of the water. After a swim, they perch on branches or logs to dry out, holding their wings out and spreading their tails. They frequently soar high in the sky, riding on thermals much like raptors and vultures. It inhabits shallow freshwater lakes, ponds, and slow-moving streams with branches or logs near the water for drying and sunning themselves. They also use brackish bays and lagoons along the coast, but they generally don't use areas with extensive open water. Anhingas swim with their webbed feet and pursue their prey in underwater. Spear their prey by rapidly stretching out their neck. They come up to handle and swallow fish. It does not have waterproof feathers. Their feathers get soaked upon immersion in water. Therefore, they cannot stay floating on water for long periods of time. Their dense bones, wetted plumage, and neutral buoyancy in water allows them to fully submerge and search for underwater prey. Anhinga cannot fly any extended distances with wet feathers. If it attempts to fly while its wings are wet, the Anhinga has difficulty. Flapping vigorously while running on the water for a short distance, often to avoid any perceived threats. Anhingas feed on moderately size of wetland fishes, amphibians, aquatic invertebrates, and insects. The Anhinga's diet consists of fishes, mullet, sunfish, black bass, catfish, suckers, and chain pickerel, crayfish, crabs, shrimp, aquatic insects, tadpoles, water snakes, and small terrapins. Anhingas see fish in underwater, mainly where there is some flora present. Once they locate their prey, they partly open their bill and stab the fish swiftly. For larger fish, they use both their jaws and use the lower jaw on small fish. If the fish is too large to forage, the Anhinga stabs it repeatedly and then lets it go. The Anhingas bring their capture to the surface of the water, toss it backwards, and engulf it headfirst. The back of the head and the neck have elongated feathers that have been described as grey or light purple-white. The upper back of the body and wings is spotted or streaked with white. The female Anhinga is similar to the male except that it has a pale grey buff or light brown head, neck, and upper chest. The lower chest or breast is a chestnut color, and the back is browner than that of the male. Only birds that live in the extreme north and south of their range migrate and do so based on temperature and available sunlight. Anhingas will migrate towards the equator during winter. But this range is determined by the amount of sunshine to warm the chilled birds. They prefer warm, shallow waters that are fresh or brackish and can sometimes be found on coasts. They live near lakes, rivers, marshes, and mangrove swamps with tall trees and thick vegetation, and in shallow lagoons and bays. Anhingas are diurnal and generally solitary but may gather with cormorants, herons, ibises, and storks. They will nest with their species and other birds in loose colonies, but do not associate with other Anhingas aside from in nesting colonies. These birds are highly territorial, engaging in exaggerated displays when defending their nest, spreading their wings, and snapping their beak to threaten an intruder, leading to a fight if necessary, pecking each other on the neck and head. When they are in the water, they spend most of their time in fishing. Otherwise, they will be found perched in trees. They often crawl out of the water to find a high perch so they can sun themselves. As turkey vultures and cormorants, Anhingas will spread out their wings to the sun themselves, which dries out their plumage, absorbing heat from the sun. They lose heat quickly in water, as they have no layer of body feathers to provide insulation. Thus, the sun's heat helps them to maintain their body temperature. Anhingas are usually quiet birds, but they communicate vocally when they need to, producing clicks, rattles, grunts, and croaks. Anhingas are monogamous. They forming strong pair bonds, which last for life. During courtship, Anhingas perform flying displays, soaring towards their nest from a great height. Anhingas usually nest in colonies, sometimes with other bird species. The nest is built by both adults and is used then from year to year. 2 to 5 eggs are laid, and incubation is for around 25 to 30 days, done by both parents. They are brooded for 12 days by both parents and remain in their nest for 3 weeks. Then they climb out of their nest onto a branch, and they fledge at 6 weeks old. The young stay for several more weeks with their parents before becoming independent, and reaching maturity when they are 2 years old. Anhinga parents first feed chicks by dripping regurgitated fish and fluid directly into their open bills. When the chicks are older, they will put their heads into their parents' bills to get the food. If threatened, the chicks can drop into the water to swim away and will later climb out of the water back into their nest. Anhingas are often seen soaring high overhead. They are graceful flyers and can fly long distances without needing to flap their wings, similar to the flight of a turkey vulture.